Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is our ninth video on the series where we're going to be talking about the Atlassian Rovo MCP. And folks, let me tell you, I am very excited for this one. For the first time in this series, we're probably not going to be in Jira a whole lot. And in fact, we're going to be mostly in any other AI tool. We're going to be focusing on ChatGPT and Claude today. But yeah, this is an exciting one because instead of just doing everything with Rovo and doing everything inside of Jira, inside of Confluence, like we've been doing for the last few weeks, we're gonna take and be able to harness that power, be able to take all that capability that we normally do natively in the tool, and we're gonna go to a different tool. And there's a couple of reasons why this is a good idea. But the biggest one that stands out to me is Rovo is great, but it still needs a little bit of improvement. I think Rovo is a really good tool. It's evolving, it's getting better day by day. But there's just certain things that Rovo can't not do very, very well. AI on the Claude and GPT side do it much better. And then the other thing is a lot of companies or a lot of folks that I speak with, they typically tend to live already inside of ChatGPT, inside of Claude. And to go back to Jira and then to use Rovo, it's a little bit of it's an extra step, right? You have to go back to another tool, and you have to go and essentially, context switch, change directions and whatnot. But with MCP, as we're going to show you today, you bring the power of Jira, you bring the power of Rovo, the power of Confluence, you bring it to where you already are operating, and that's going to be within your ChatGPT, within your Cloud, and some other tools that we're going to be reviewing today. So that's kind of the promise of today. I'm going to show you how to leverage the power of Atlassian Rovo inside of your AI, your favorite AI tool, and how to just be very, very productive with Jira without actually having to go to Jira. So this is the promise for today. Yeah, so in the chat, folks, as always, feel free to drop where are you tuning in from. This is also our ninth. This is our ninth video in this series. So let me know if you've attended all 9. Let me know if you're here for the first time. Maybe you've done 3, maybe you've done 5 of these. Let me know the number in the chat. And while you're there, also let me know where you're tuning in from. While you're dropping those things, let's go over some housekeeping rules here. Feel free to ask any questions at any time. I am monitoring the chat here on the side. So if you have any questions at all about any of this stuff, let me know. I might not have all the answers. MCP is a little bit more of it's a moving target. Okay, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, it's constantly getting better. New features being added, other features being taken away. So things might be moving, but we definitely have some experts in the Atlassian community that I can always go back and ask questions to. So feel free to drop them in and let me know. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel, folks. We are on our road to 1,000 subscribers. This is one of YouTube's requirements here for monetization, and we are currently sitting around the 730 mark. And so if you want to help us out and help us get to our goal, we're trying to hit 750 subscribers today. We're at 738. So yeah, probably about 12 of you. But yeah, if we can crush the 800, that would be a bit of a stretch, but that'd be really cool. But yeah, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, with 750 being the goal for today. And also in just a moment, I'm going to share the link to my LinkedIn. I'd really appreciate it, folks, if you connected with me on LinkedIn. There's always a lot of cool stuff that I'm doing on that platform, sharing a bunch of new information as well. So if you want to get in on that information, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's going to be your best bet. The session is also being recorded, folks. This is the number one question that I always get asked is the session being recorded? It absolutely is. And it's going to be available on this particular channel, which is why point number 2 is so important, right? Because when you subscribe to the channel, you're going to be able to find these sessions. Now, if this is your first time, we got a couple people here who's first time. There are 8 other videos, and there's going to be one more for Friday. So there's going to be a total of 10 videos, which is why you're probably going to want to subscribe to that channel. And more importantly, have some fun, folks. I don't script these videos. I have a couple of slides just to kind of keep me on topic, but we're going to have some fun. In the last session that we did on Monday, we had the chat basically help me build an application. So today we just, have fun, be interactive, ask questions, be curious. And just, yeah, this is why we do these live. I could have just done this as a recorded video, but that wouldn't be any fun, right? You have the opportunity to interact, to say hello. And yeah, so just take advantage of that. Let's go into the chat here a little bit. We got Tony from Sandra, I'm assuming Alabama. I don't know my state abbreviations very well. That was like something I learned in fourth or fifth grade. Virginia, we got Nashville, Tennessee. I've been to Nashville's airport, and that was one of my favorite airports in the world so far. We got Myra from Brazil, and I actually do know Myra very, very well. We got Pashel from Dallas, Fort Worth. Pashel, we're going to come to you very, very soon. We're going to be bringing an entire event that I'm going to be sharing more details about in just a second. And so it's nice to know that that we got somebody in Texas, in Dallas. We got Jeffrey from Charlotte, North Carolina. Good morning from Madison, Wisconsin. Budapest in the house. Hello. Nashville. We got a second person from Nashville. Good morning from Atlanta, Georgia, the Philippines, and Ukraine. All right, worldwide audience here. And we got New York. And I will be in New York here very, very soon here, in like a week and a half. So I'm actually kind of nervous and excited all at the same time. I've never been to New York City. So we got France, we got Austria, we got Italy. So yeah, we are in a very worldwide economy here today. So what are we going to be learning? We're going to be talking about MCP, right? Going to break down what the Model Context Protocol is. We're going to talk about what Atlassian's Rovo MCP server connects, how it works, how it differs from just simply copying and pasting information into the AI chat. Then I'm going to walk you through a couple of examples on how to connect Atlassian's MCP with ChatGPT, with Claude. And then we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to jump into examples. We're going to go and actually have some fun. Mostly going to be inside of ChatGPT today because that's the paid version that I have. Gemini, I'm going to show you some documentation on because apparently it's not that simple for Gemini. So Gemini lost a lot of points with me today and last night as I was preparing for this. And so it's already my least favorite of the AI tools. So I'm sorry if this is your favorite one. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but yeah, Gemini has really, really let me down. And in the chat, folks, let me know which one is your favorite AI tool. Is it ChatGPT? Is it Claude? Are you on Team Cursor? Where are you at? Let me know in the chat which AI tool is your favorite today. And again, Gemini is my least favorite right now. It's the one that has let me down the most. But yeah, we're going to be focusing on ChatGPT and we're going to be inside of Claude. Okay, now Claude, unfortunately, I'm on the free version, so I can ask it like half of a question, and then I ran out of credits. So we'll see how far we can get with Claude, but I anticipate to at least be able to ask it one or maybe two questions, trying to see what we can do here with Claude. But I anticipate running out of credits fairly quickly because as much as I love Claude, because Claude is really advanced, those free credits are no joke. I've been operating with the free ChatGPT for like the better part of 2.5 years. Never had a problem. I'm on the paid version now. And so we'll be mainly focusing on with ChatGPT. But yeah, Claude, they got to give you a little bit more credits on that free version. Yeah, so we got, for those folks, Grok will not be covered. I didn't even think about Grok. I mainly think about Grok when I'm in my Tesla, but definitely not for work-related purposes. Is not something that Cloud comes to mind. ChatGPT with work, Cloud is failing too much after the latest updates. Yeah. I am on Team ChatGPT. I've been told that GPT is like the least powerful of all the models, but I've yielded tremendous results with ChatGPT over the last 6 months that I've been on the paid version. So I like ChatGPT. It's one of my favorite. How about Deep AI? We are not familiar with that one, but we're gonna focus on these first two that I've been sharing here. All right. A couple of disclaimers and some announcements. Folks, I want to talk to you about something very important here. First, let's connect. So I'm going to drop in my LinkedIn post here, my LinkedIn URL, so that you guys can have it. Let me grab this real quick. You guys can connect with me on LinkedIn. But in a few hours, I'm going to be sitting down with Mike Yarrow from User Metrics, and we're going to be doing a really cool presentation. We're going to be doing a chat on MCP Manager and how to use Atlassian's MCP productively and securely. And this is very important because as you're going to learn in today's session, MCP is very powerful. But as an organization, you might want to put some guardrails, some governance around it. Your IT department might be freaking out if you're using MCP. And so MCP Manager is going to be a way to manage your MCPs. And so I have a completely free webinar in a few hours today. So I'm going to drop a link here. If you can do me a huge favor, register for that completely free. It's a great conversation with Mike Yar. He is a really, really smart and talented individual, and we're going to be sitting down. So if you all can do me a huge favor, let's jump onto this webinar in a few hours. At least register. It's going to be recorded. We're going to send it all out. But yeah, if you can do me a huge solid favor and register for this webinar, that's going to be really cool. And then on a similar note, in a couple of months, so in almost a little over 60 days, we're going to be in Dallas. We're going to be hosting a completely free event. And guess what? We're going to be talking, we're going to have a couple sessions on MCP as well. So if you want to roll up your sleeves and kind of learn a little bit more about MCP, completely free in-person event happening October 27th and the 28th in Dallas, Texas. So sign up for this one. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then last thing that I'll share for today is I do have a free PDF that I can give you. We have the Big Book of Atlassian. So there's a 200-page the manual that you wish Jira shipped with. This is every person wants this PDF here. So if you want it, drop in the link tree and essentially click on this free download, and you'll be able to just drop in your email, drop in your name, and you'll get to the PDF. So you get to the 200 pages of, again, the ultimate handbook that you wish Jira ship with. So everything else that I'm working on, folks, is in here, including my conference that I just talked to you about, and even a virtual bootcamp. I'm doing a little bootcamp in 2 weeks. And so if you're interested, it's $200, but because you're in this class, all you need to do is go to add promo code, type in SEPT B100, hit the apply button, and watch this. It'll drop the price to $0. So if you're interested in that, let me get you both the link and the promo code so that you can basically get the bootcamp for free. So promo is going to be SEPT B100. All right, folks, we are done with the advertisement stuff. Let's start off with an opening question. How often do you wish Jira or Confluence content could be accessed by your favorite AI tool today? Right? Is this a struggle that you've been having? Because that's essentially the struggle we're going to be answering today. Right? And just to kind of, for the folks that are joined a little late, let me repaint the picture, right? Actually, let me just show you an example. We're going to be inside of ChatGPT, okay? And we're going to basically show you how to do the following, okay? Tell me, what are the most important things I should be working on today? Right? I'm not going to tell it a whole lot, and I'm also going to drop I'm just going to go for faster here. Let's just go to medium, and let's see if it's smart enough to go to Jira and get this information, because it should be looking through my calendar, through other connected tools. I don't have any other connected tools. The only connected tool I have is Jira. So without telling it anything, I'm just going to see, is ChatGPT smart enough to infer that I want it to go to Jira and get this information? So I'm going to tell it not now on the calendar. I don't particularly care for calendar. No, I do not want you to do calendar. I'm just trying to see. We're doing a test here, folks. Again, none of this stuff is scripted. We're doing this for the first time here, and I'm kind of curious how specific, how detailed do you need to be with your AI in order to get good information out? Ooh, Mike brings up a really good point here. We're only permitted to use Rovo and Perplexity at work. I do believe that as long as you have an MCP or so MCP servers should be a standard protocol, right, as we'll cover today. But there's easy ways to connect. Claude and ChatGPT, a couple of others that we're going to cover today, are very easy to connect with Atlassian MCP server. But I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to use MCP server with Perplexity. It's not on my list. It's not a tool that I use. But again, MCP server is like a standard protocol, right? So you should be able to connect it, and maybe Googling it and stuff like that. You might have to do it like what Google does, which is through their CLI, which I found mildly annoying. But it's still worth investigating, because when you use MCP, it does wonderful things. All right, folks, as you can see here, it couldn't get to my calendar, but it was able to find Project Aurora, which is, if you've been on my trainings here, you know that that's the thing that I'm working on in Jira. And you know that I need to get a named owner on this billing integration, right? If you remember, these are conversations I've been having with Rovo over the last few weeks that we've been working with AI and with Rovo inside of Jira. And all that information, I didn't have to tell it any information. I didn't have to give it any extra context. I didn't have to do anything extra other than connect ChatGPT, which I'm going to show you how to do today, with Atlassian MCP, Atlassian Rovo MCP. And just like that, by being able to ask it a question, ChatGPT has the context of what is inside of Jira and is able to answer questions. And so this is just, again, the one example. We're going to be looking at many, many more examples, but this is what we're trying to build out today. We're trying to make it so that when we talk with ChatGPT, it's contextually aware of what we got going on in the Atlassian world, and we can get information so we can make strategic decisions. More importantly, we can use the reasoning engine behind ChatGPT, which again, in my opinion, is significantly better than Rovo. And then we're also going to be able to create stuff. So we can have ChatGPT take action and go put things into Jira, whether that's creating pages, whether that's creating work items, updating work items. And I'm going to show you those interactions here today. Okay, so that's what we're working towards. And let's see, we got a couple people here in the chat. What are the benefits and pros of direct Atlassian AI Rovo versus the, okay. So yeah, so I was kind of talking about that a little bit, right? When you're inside of Rovo, just like we've been showing you for the last, again, 3 weeks that we've been doing this, Rovo is powerful. Rovo has a context. But Rovo, the way Atlassian has architected Rovo today, and this is changing, folks. This is, Atlassian is going to have their major next European conference in a little under 60 days. It's like 50 days away. So I expect Atlassian to make more announcements around the power of Rovo. But when you're using Rovo today, the way Atlassian has configured Rovo, the handicaps and the limitations that they put in around Rovo, it's Atlassian's LLMs are not smart enough to answer questions, and they're not as powerful as Claude, right? Like Anthropic's doing a phenomenal job with their models. ChatGPT's, OpenAI's models, they're decent, right? They're pretty good. But those models, ChatGPT's, Gemini's, Claude's, those models are years ahead of what Rovo can do, in my opinion. Okay, this is, I don't work for Atlassian, folks. So this is my personal opinion based on my observations. Rovo is getting significantly better, but when I look at it and when I'm comparing what Rovo can do versus what ChatGPT can do versus what Claude can do, it's almost night and day. And so this is the benefit, right? This is the pro, is that through MCP, you're able to harness the power that you are paying for with your ChatGPT, with your Claude, right? And then be able to tap and have access to that Atlassian data so that it can do things, and we can do additional reasoning that's significantly better or above anything that you would be able to do inside of Rovo. Also, Rovo by default, or I guess not default, but your Jira admins can turn off web search. So all your context and all the searching that happens locally within Rovo is usually just around your data, which is cool. But again, you just don't get that extra insights that you would have from ChatGPT, Claude, etc. So hopefully that answers your question, Yadish. And we'll go to the next one. So what we are using Rovo MCP to get Jira ticket and Confluence details for some specific. Yes, that's exactly a perfect use case that we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so show of hands, how many of you know what MCP is? Give me a +1 if you know what MCP is. Give me a +0 if you've never heard of MCP before. So we're gonna kind of take a step back. I always like to start at the beginning of a thread, and this is, I think, the best place to start is just to define things, right? What is MCP? So we have Brian. We got a couple people that definitely know what MCP is. So this will be a little bit of a refresher. We got a 0.5, which is a little wishy-washy. I like it. I like the initiative here. Anybody not know what MCP is? Because at this point, I mean, we have 107 of y'all, and we have mostly everybody know. So we'll kind of speed through this one unless I see a +0 here, because if anybody doesn't know what MCP is, then we'll slow down a little bit. But in general, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. And a funny story that I have to share with you, about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I'm sitting in an interview with somebody. I'm doing a podcast type of thing, and I'm doing it with a good friend of mine, and he's really like leaning into the whole AI business again. 2 years ago, AI landscape changes very quickly, right? Very, very quickly. And so I'm in this meeting or podcast interview with him, and I'm like, you know what would be cool is if like your AI could talk to my AI, and like different AIs can just talk to each other, and there's a common language that they can leverage to talk to each other. At the time, MCP was not a thing. All right. And so we were theorizing this, like hypothetical world where AI had a common language that could allow it to talk to each other. And a few weeks later, this MCP protocol comes out, and this is exactly what it is. It's basically a common language. Some examples that I've seen is like USB, right? So if you've ever used a USB cable on your computer, right, you know that these little connectors, they're standardized. They allow for any device that has a female or a male end of this to essentially communicate with each other, right? You can transfer data. Some of them you can transfer power and stuff like that, right? And so it's a standardized protocol that allows you to transfer data. And that's essentially what MCP is, right? It's just a standard protocol that allows one AI to talk to another AI, right? And so you have a host, the application that the user is interacting with. In our case, it's going to be like ChatGPT, Claude, Cursor, Visual Studio Code, Gemini CLI, right? You have a host, and then you have an MCP client, which is going to be the component inside that application that is going to communicate with the MCP server. And then you have the MCP server. These MCP servers are made by the vendors, right? So you're talking your Atlassian had to go make it themselves. Figma, Salesforce, ServiceNow, all the companies, all these SaaS tools that you use, it's up to them to go and create this MCP server that basically opens up a protocol of instructions and opportunities that they say, hey, this is how your AI can talk to our AI stuff. All right. And that's basically, if I had to explain to a kindergartner, that's what MCP is. Now, what is Atlassian Rovo MCP, right? Well, Atlassian Rovo MCP is a cloud-hosted MCP server that exposes Atlassian capabilities to MCP-compatible AI clients, like your ChatGPTs, your Geminis, and the like. And so ChatGPT, so you can imagine that we're taking interactions from ChatGPT. We're going to be using and leveraging and harnessing the power of Atlassian Rovo MCP. And then that's going to be like our tunnel. It's our bridge to get the actual Jira data. So we can actually be productive with whatever we have going on inside of Jira. And it's not limited to just Jira, folks, by the way. It could be Jira Service Management, Jira Product Discovery, Compass, Goals, it's just the Atlassian MCP. So anything that Atlassian is kind of investing in, it can get that information. And what this allows you to do is you can say things like, hey, find all the unresolved bugs assigned to me that haven't been updated in 30 days, which is something that normally you would have to go into Jira to ask, right? Build a JQL for it. But because we're using MCP, we're going to be able to ask these questions. In fact, I'm just going to take this prompt here, and we're going to be able to just ask ChatGPT, right? And it should be able to bring that data back, because the AI doesn't need you to manually export your data. You don't have to get like a file out of Jira and go, here, read this or analyze this file and then try to do something with it. It has a direct connection with your Jira data. And it can use the available, whatever tools, right? Whatever capabilities, I'll call them skills, that Atlassian has exposed or allowed for MCP to use. It'll use that. So TLDR, right? Too long didn't read. The power of Rovo inside your favorite AI tool. All right. I heard that Atlassian is continuously building a RAG for each enterprise customer, which enables Rovo searching faster and getting information deeper. So the rumors that I've heard is that Rovo today, the version of Rovo that we use, is a certain version that they have. But there's different teams, different departments within Atlassian working on quote-unquote Rovo. Again, we're on the 9 series, folks. If you haven't picked it up by now, again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, folks, we have 100 of you in this call, and we're trying to get to 750 subscribers. So if you're getting value out of this, hit that subscribe button for me. But while you're subscribing to the channel, if you go back to the first and second training that I did on Rovo and what is Rovo, you'll notice that there's a lot of variants of Rovo, okay? And because there's so many variants of Rovo, they're not all created equal, and they're not all created by the same team. My understanding in talking to a couple of people over on Team Rovo at Atlassian, okay? And because of this truth, certain Rovo models, specifically that for Rovo Dev, are far superior than what we have today. And so my understanding from the rumor mill is that Atlassian is working on taking that Rovo Dev reasoning and inference and everything that it does there, that model, and bringing it to the normal Rovo that you and I interact with on a daily basis. So that's what I heard. It's supposed to be better. It's supposed to be faster. It's supposed to be more effective. Again, stay tuned. Atlassian's going to have a huge event here in the next 50 days. So they might be dropping new information on this. But I personally haven't heard anything confirmed, but that's the rumor that I've heard. Always happy to share rumors with you all. Can we say that MCP is basically a connector between AI tools and other tools? Yes. So MCP, yeah, it's we're using it as one example. We're using ChatGPT with Jira, but it's just it allows AI. The way I used to describe it is like it allows AI to talk to AI. The caveat here, the limitation that I have found, and I hope Atlassian fixes this, is that I can build agents inside of Rovo, right? Like, remember how we've covered how to build an agent in Rovo? And so I can have all these agents that do cool things, but through MCP today, at least as of the last time that I tried it, which was about 4 weeks ago, things could have changed, but about 4 weeks ago, I didn't have the opportunity or the ability to, from ChatGPT, like summon and talk to that agent. I think that'd be a really cool feature for me to be able to interact with the agents that I have in Rovo, because they're part of my workflow and I'd like to kick things off. So for now, that's a limit that I'm aware of. Moves our monthly RCAs on support tickets from Rovo to Cursor plus Atlassian. Yeah, much more. Yeah, and this right here, Chris, is the exact reason why MCP is such a great option, right? Because Rovo is cool, right? I'm not trying to hate against Rovo, folks. Hopefully I'm not coming off as a Rovo hater, but Atlassian MCP just gives you the power and the tool that you're already operating out of. That's honestly, in my opinions, again, I think these other tools are far more superior than what we got going on with Rovo today, right? That's not to say Atlassian's not working on this, but this is the harsh reality, and at least Atlassian makes up for it by giving us Atlassian MCP Rovo. So we've already said this, but what makes a connector secure? Great question. We haven't covered that yet, but I'm going to show you a couple things here. But it does use OAuth, and this is also why you're going to want to. Earlier today, I mentioned we have a webinar. This webinar, we're going to talk about MCP Manager, and this MCP Manager adds an extra layer of security on top of the OAuth. It allows you to essentially control who in your organization has access to MCP servers, what MCP servers they have access to, and then everything is being logged. So if you are in an org, like a big enterprise organization, or even a small one, and you just want to have a little bit more governance over your MCP usage in your company, come to this webinar. It's completely free. It's today. It's in a few hours. Again, it's recorded, but register so you get the recording in case you're asleep at that time. But we're going to have a really great conversation about some options that you have to make MCP a little bit better and a little bit more productive. So definitely sign up for this webinar here and learn more about it. But the basic is it's going to use OAuth, right? And I'm gonna show you. Well, maybe I've already connected it. Maybe I disconnected and reconnected, and I'll show you what happens there. Okay, great questions, folks. These are some great questions. Okay, so why is MCP better? So again, I've been kind of talking about this, right? But in Jira, you're able to search for the work items. You're able to retrieve the work item information. This is probably my three favorite ones here. You can create work, you can edit the work, you can transition the work. And what this enables you to do is if you're in a meeting, right? And I'll try to replicate this, but this is my favorite scenario. And speaking with Mike, this is one of my favorite scenarios, right? You're in a meeting, right? You're some AI assistant inside your meeting. And this is based on a true story, based on what my friend here, Mike, and his team at User-Centrics, this is what they do on almost every meeting, okay? So they have like Loom or some AI assistant transcribing the meeting. And in their meeting, right, as they're conversing, as they're having a stand-up, or maybe they're doing design decisions or having technical discussions on something, but they know that there needs to be a Jira update, right? And so they'll say, hey, Claude, update ticket XYZ, right? And then they'll kind of describe what needs to happen there. Or they'll go, hey, Claude, create a new ticket and assign it to Becky, right? And so they're doing these things, and they're essentially, like, in their meetings, they're annotating and talking directly to Claude, because when they feed the transcription to Claude through the power of MCP, they're going to then instruct. They're basically building a verbal prompt, right? Folks, we're going to get there, Susan. we're working our way up to it, right? We're working our way to the connection, right? And so they basically interact, and they're trained Claude at this point where it's listening for the ticket number, it's listening for actions or activities that it's got to go do. And then when they run that transcription through Claude, all these magical things happen in the backend, right? And so this is a really cool feature, because otherwise you're like the good old olden days where you have to take notes, right? I don't know how many of you guys are still on paper and pen. I still use paper for my notes. I know, right? I'm Dr. Jira, and I still use paper, but as you're in meetings, right, as your meetings are being transcribed, you can just start calling out, hey, Claude, do this. Hey, Claude, update this ticket. Hey, Claude, create a new ticket and assign it to Becky. Hey, Claude, take Becky's current issue and update the priority. Hey, Claude, set a due date for this ticket, right? And you're just talking to Claude. And when you run that transcription through Claude and it's analyzing it, it's going to go, oh, I need to go update this ticket, or I need to go transition this ticket. I need to create a new ticket, right? And it does those cool things for you. Similarly with Confluence, right? You can tell it, hey, take this entire thing, pop it into Confluence, make a whiteboard, make a page, update the page, right? Really cool stuff. So that's why MCP is better. Now, before we get to the connector, because we are going to get to how do we connect these things in just a second, what's the difference between MCP and APIs? Because this is something that I think a lot of people tend to confuse as well. I'm not the greatest expert on it as well either. To me, I still get confused just a little bit, but REST APIs haven't gone away. APIs still, in fact, very much exist, and they just serve a different purpose, okay? So with the REST API, you tell the system exactly what to do. For example, you have a post function, and you're calling some sort of a, what they call these, an endpoints, right? And so you create this file, and you basically tell it how to authenticate, what you want to do, what update you want to do. And APIs are usually done in a very structured way with this JSON format, and you typically embed it into your code, or you have like there's a post something tool. I don't do a whole lot of APIs, folks, right? It's very technical, very nerdy. But with MCP, it's just a connection that we're going to establish here in just a second. And that's it. Once you establish the connection, you're talking to AI. You're just talking to Rovo. You're talking to ChatGPT. You're talking to Claude like you would any other time you're interacting with your favorite AI tool. And it just has a list, this list over here, of all the different things you can do with Jira, Confluence, and JSM, and some of the other tools. So that's all it is, right? It's more native. It's more of an interaction, and it's a platter. It's a platter of different capabilities. Versus with REST API, you're being very intentional. You're telling it, put this, get that, and that's it. There's no reasoning. There's no logic. They're both like gateways, right? They both allow you to see data, but they're just doing it very differently. Okay. Let's get some questions here real quick. Would you say that an MCP connection is generally cheaper than Rovo or AI directly in the, ooh, that's a great question. So today, as of this recording, we're on August 19th here, 2026. Atlassian doesn't charge you for Rovo. There's usage limits, there's going to be credit limits, but as of today, you can use as much Rovo as you want. There is no hard limit here right now. So Rovo is technically free to use as much as you can and as much as you want. Versus Claude, ChatGPT, right? There's, depending on which payment plan you're on, it is an extra cost, right? So if your company is currently not paying for ChatGPT, for Claude, for Gemini, it's an extra cost that you have to do there. There is no cost to do the MCP, right? So the MCP is free. So as long as you're already paying for Jira, and as long as you're already paying for ChatGPT, it's included in the price. So there's nothing extra that you're paying for other than your monthly subscription, right? So yeah, so true. Rovo is not free per se, but Rovo is included. So I want to be very clear, very specific here. The ability to use Rovo is included in your paid subscription to Jira, right? So if you have Jira Standard, Jira Premium, or Jira Enterprise, Rovo is included. Atlassian is not charging you extra for Rovo there. For each of those plans, whether you're on the Standard, Premium, or Enterprise versions of Jira, you are going to have different limits, different usage limits. They call them credits. They're not technically tokens, but they're different credits of usage per person in your organization. Today, Atlassian is not billing you for that usage. So it'll show you how many credits you're using, but if you go over, nobody's going to come and slap your wrist. Okay, so that's why it's technically free today, because Atlassian's just not tracking it. Now, I want you to be very careful though, because Atlassian has been known to do this. They try to make this into a gateway drug where you become addicted to the power of Rovo, and then when they start slapping the wrists, and whenever they start doing that, that's when we're going to run into some problems. Yeah, and they do charge for Rovo Dev, but Rovo Dev is a completely different product. Rovo Dev is like comparing Claude Code with Claude, two different use cases, right? And so it's not fair to say, when I talk about Rovo, I'm specifically talking about the chat-like interface of Rovo, and not necessarily the development aspect of Rovo Dev, right? I don't think a lot of people, I mean, it's easy to confuse it because it's Rovo's in the name, but very similar to Claude and Cloud Code, two different use cases, two different tools. They're intended for different things, right? And so it's the same thing with Rovo Dev. So yeah, while they do charge for Rovo Dev, is not in scope. Rovo Dev is completely different, not in scope for this conversation whatsoever. So every time I'm saying Rovo, we're talking about regular Rovo. So hopefully, Robert, that clears things up for you because yeah, it can be confusing, right? Again, especially since there's so many variants and flavors of Rovo. But yeah, Atlassian for Rovo, just regular Rovo, not Rovo Dev, is included in your payment subscription to Atlassian for your Jira or your Confluence, or I guess your Teamwork collection now, or your Service collection. What's the advantage of using MCP instead of the ChatGPT directly using API? Atlassian has great API documentation. Yeah, so there, at that point, because you're leveraging the power of AI to do the API figuring it out for you, it's a little less advantageous. I will still say that because if you're more of a technical person, the API stuff is going to be great, right? But MCP is like for everyday users, right? As long as you have the MCP connection, I'm going to show you how easy it is to connect it. It takes like a second to connect your MCP or your Confluence, or sorry, your ChatGPT with Jira. 1 second, that's all it takes. And that's it. Like you just talk to it like you normally would. You don't have to worry about telling it to be very specific on API this or API that, or find me a library that does this, or an endpoint that does that. Like it takes all the nerdiness and all the complexity out of the equation. So if you like that though, like more power to you, right? But for regular folks like me, I don't want to worry about the technology. I just want to talk to my AI and have magical things happen. That's what AI is going to give you, or MCP is going to give you. Our environment gives us access to Rovo and Copilot. Cool. There should be, with Copilot, you should be able to use the MCP server as well. Free version, yes, free version does not have Rovo access, which is why I was very intentional. Rovo is included with your paid subscriptions. So if you are on paid, any paid plan on Jira, you're going to get Rovo. But if you're on the free version, you don't get Rovo. Are you able to MCP to Copilot? Our company has very limited users on things like Claude, but so we'll look at the documentation. MCP server is just an MCP server. So as long as Copilot, I don't use Copilot. I'm very much not a fan of Microsoft stuff. Microsoft Teams has put a very, very bad taste in my mouth, and Outlook, I continue to fight it every single day. And so I try to stay away from all the Microsoft stuff just on principle. And so I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, but we can take a look at documentation and see what it says. I haven't to view this on personal machine, can't touch YouTube from work machine. Yes. So live streams, so depending on your company, live streams tend to be blocked. So this is not a my problem type of thing, but it's like your company has some firewall permissions that they don't allow for. And this would, if you're even on your personal machine, but you're a VPN into your work, you would probably still have the same limitation. Some VPNs, some firewalls, some corporate firewalls don't allow for live stream. So it's not just this particular video, it's any live stream that you try to do on YouTube, they tend to be blocked by corporate firewalls. So just food for the wise, or food for thought here. Siri again, did you get a chance to check on Rovo search history by the admins? I did. And I'm trying to remember what the answer was. So today, Atlassian does not see your chat history. So anything that you're searching for, the admins won't be able to see it. They'll be able to see when you invoked Rovo and that you initiated an interaction with Rovo, but they're not going to be able to see that. However, with that said, agents. So if you're using an agent, right? So any interactions with an agent, that is being recorded and that is accessible somewhat, not completely, but it's somewhat accessible. And so if you're using or interacting with any agent, then you may have a problem there. Yatish says, I think MCP is kind of the next phase of progression of API since it combines the power of LLMs, AI. Yep. I would I totally agree with this, right? So yeah, so it's very similar, but there's more nerdiness to it. And I love that we're spreading the nerdy part of it. What is the basic free credits provided by Atlassian for Rovo for each organization? So it's not free, it's just included. You just got to go to Jira pricing. And when you go to Jira pricing page here, you're going to see that as you scroll down, remember we have free, standard, premium, and enterprise. Only the standard, premium, and enterprise are going to have Rovo. But if you come down to the Atlassian Rovo, you're going to see nothing here because free doesn't give you any Rovo. But you get 25 credits per user per month, 70 credits per user per month if you're on premium, and then 150 credits per user per month. Today, to the best of my knowledge, Atlassian's not tracking this. Let me rephrase. Atlassian is very much tracking it. In fact, if I go over here to Jira and I go over to my settings, you're going to see that Atlassian is very much tracking what you got going on here. Right? Oops, wrong one. I got to go to Rovo. So here we go to Rovo overview. So your Jira admins can see the credits. See, as you can see, I've used 6,662 credits. But they're not doing anything with it right now. So the credits exist, and that's pretty much it. So you can see how many credits you're using. Atlassian today is still not charging you. You can see that I have 165,000 credits available across my instance. I'm using 3,000, and it resets in about a month. So I just started this new month, and I've used 390. But nowhere on here does it tell you how many credits equals a token. Nowhere on here does it tell you what happens if you run out of credits, like if you hit your limit, your allowance. All that Atlassian's still figuring it out. So that's why today Atlassian just wants you to kind of use it. But I want you to be careful because we had this with automation rules. Atlassian, when we used to have automation rules, we used to have unlimited usage of automation rules, and then one day they pulled the plug, and then we had to start paying, and it wasn't pretty. It was a little bit of a bloodbath. So just be very careful. What's the difference between Atlassian Remote MCP and Atlassian Rovo MCP? I'm not familiar with the Remote MCP. I just know the Rovo MCP, which is what we're talking about today. I'm with you on the Microsoft stuff, yeah. Is it per user? So yes and no. So it's per user, this number. One user can use them all up. The same thing with automation rules. So, right? So if you have 10 people in your organization and you're on the premium, oops, I lost my, okay. I lost the thing, but let's just go back to the number, right? If you have 10 users, that's 75 times 10, you have 750 credits, right? So your total credits would be 750. If one person uses up 700, that's it. One person could use all 700 if they wanted to. So from that perspective, it is per user, but it just pulls it into a general pool that anybody can use from that pool. So again, same thing. It's just how it's how automation rules work. And yeah, we were burnt bad. Yeah, Atlassian, they did us dirty with those automation rules. All right, folks. Awesome. So let's get back to the presentation here because I do want to wrap this one up today and show you some examples. But a couple more things. Can MCP access everything? Yes or no? So yes, Rovo technically has access to everything. It's anything that's in the teamwork graph, Rovo has access to it. But, there's a huge but here. Rovo will only ever return any data that the user has access to. So all your Jira and Confluence permissions are respected. So no unauthorized access to any data that you shouldn't be able to see or have access to. It's going to respect that. Rovo MCP will mimic and respect those permissions. When you're interacting with Rovo, because we authenticated using that OAuth, it impersonates you. And so whatever permissions you have access to, that's what ultimately Rovo has access to. And that's ultimately what's going to be presented back on the screen to you. So you will not see anything extra. All right. With that said, let's connect, right? It's super easy. I'm going to walk you through it real quick. And we're going to do ChatGPT first. We'll go to Claude. And let me show you. So all I got to do is open up ChatGPT. On the left-hand side, we have plugins. Okay. From your plugins, you just simply search in Atlassian. This is the easiest one, folks. This is the one clicks. As you can see here, we have the Teamwork Graph CLI. That's if you're going to be on the CLI version. Command line interface. I like to take a good joke from Mike Cannon Brooks at Team 26 Anaheim, which was like, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Ain't that the truth? All right, we have the Atlassian Rovo here. As you can see, I've already installed it. So if I uninstall it, it would just say install, and that's it. So it takes like 2 clicks. You just click the install button, and then once it's installed, you're going to be able to use it as we're going to do in the next example. So that's what ChatGPT. On the cloud side, we have very similar. So you have your customize, I think. Yep. We go to connectors, and then same thing here. I already have it connected. You click on add, browse connectors, search up Atlassian. Here you got Atlassian Rovo. You check the plus button. It'll have a little plus button like this. It'll authenticate. So the only thing that you need to know is that when you're doing this for the first time, let me disconnect it just so I can show you how to reconnect it, right? So you'll click on this connect with Claude, and then the magical part is the authentication. So here we're authenticating. So we're gonna have the domain, go talk to Atlassian. It's coming in as me. And so we just gotta pick the site in which I want to talk to. And then you pick your permissions and I click accept. And that's it. That is the OAuth in effect. It knows your Atlassian ID and it connects with your Claude. And that's it. It took a couple seconds. Atlassian Rovo MCP. So I'll drop this link here to get started just so y'all have it in the chat. But there are a couple of other tools that are one-click supported. But then there's more technical ways to do stuff. So there's going to be instructions here for VS Code, for Cursor, Cloud Desktop, Codex Desktop, Windsurf, and yeah. So if there's anything else that's not in here, like your copilots, just go and ask. Like, well, let me not waste a search here, but let's ask Gemini. How do I connect Copilot with Atlassian Rovo MCP? And let's see what's possible here. So yeah, so you're just gonna have to go. It's a little bit more technical. It's a little bit more nerdy, but you got to go do a couple more things here with these JSON files. So again, out of scope for this one, just because we only have 10 minutes left. But as you can see with some of these other tools, like your ChatGPTs, your Geminis, your Claudes, and your let me show you this other link too. So this one's kind of cool. So these 4 tools here, it's a one click. You click one button, and that's it. It's the other tool that you have to go through and fiddle around with some MCP files and JSONs and stuff like that. All right. Let's see. So all searches from Claude will use your permissions, or does every user have to connect personally? Every user has to connect personally because it's going to authenticate as that user. Okay. And then that's it. So the search is going to be using your permissions as well. From my experience, you will need your ChatGPT admin to enable. Yeah. So that's a good call out. So, and I'm going to take it one step further, Yatish. Your ChatGPT admin is going to have to enable it on the Atlassian MCP side. And then your Jira admin needs to enable it on the Jira side. And this could cause some friction, right? This can cause some nervousness, especially if your company doesn't have any policies around MCP governance, which is, again, I'm going to drop this link. This is a very important webinar to come talk to. If your company has any doubts on can we use MCP securely or not, this webinar, this application, MCP Manager, is a good option to basically answer a lot of those questions. So if you're curious about this, register for this webinar, drop in your email, your name, your last name, and sign up, even if you can't attend, because I know it's in a few hours and it might be a little late, right? It's like in 2 hours, 3 hours. So hopefully it's not too late for y'all. But this is a webinar worth attending. It'll give you great insights into some options that are available to you. All right. And just to kind of wrap this up in the last 10 minutes or so, first, folks, if you haven't, we're 1 subscriber away from hitting 750 subscribers. So if you want to do me a solid, there's still 80 of you on this call, 83 to be in fact. And so if you got any value out of this one, hit that subscribe button for me, folks. We're ultimately trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you hit that subscribe button, it's going to help us get there a little bit faster. We're 1 away from 750, but if we can get a 770, 775, I wouldn't be mad. So if you're watching this and you've enjoyed the last 48 minutes we spent together, smash the subscribe button. It's totally free. It helps us get to that monetization, get to that next goal in our journey here on YouTube. So thank you so much, Yatish, for registering. Appreciate it. And for everybody that subscribed, thank you so much. We are officially at, drum roll, 752. So yeah, so let's see, can we crush 760 in the last 10 minutes, folks? Again, if you're enjoying this, let's jump into Claude and let's go find some work. Okay, so let's ask Rovo. Here we go. We're gonna, you know what? Let's just go off script. Let's have a little fun. I'm gonna go back to chat here. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. I want to show you what I would normally do. Okay. So let's design something. Let's build something. Let's build a new tool. In fact, I'm going to be building a brand new scavenger hunt game. Okay. So I need your help building a scavenger hunt game. Actually, no. Building not a scavenger hunt, but a what's wrong with Jira? What's wrong in this Jira picture? a what's wrong in Jira game. I need to create a tool, and then I might kick this up a little bit more. I need to create a tool. I need your help. Let me see. I need your help coming up with common use cases / mistakes that Jira users make. I want at least 10 mistakes or 5 mistakes per use case. Okay, help me come up with these. All right, so just to give you a little bit of context of what we're trying to do, for Release Team, which is one of the partners that I work with many partners, but with Release Team, we're trying something new. We're trying to build a game where I'm going to put, like on LinkedIn, a picture of Jira, and something's wrong. Something is wrong inside of Jira. Like, for example, here we have creating an issue, right? We're going to have these 5 things that are wrong, and you have to spot the 5 things. Now, no cheating, folks. If you're going to play this, I'm giving you the answer, right? This is not MCP, by the way, in action. This is me just interacting with ChatGPT, right? But it gave me a few use cases, right? And so we have all this information and everything's good to go. But now this is where, now that I have this, right, now that I've gone back and forth with ChatGPT and I'm like, cool, this is awesome. Let's put all this information into a Confluence page so that I can share with my team. And so now we're triggering MCP, right? So now we're going to turn this, right? Normally, if you don't have MCP enabled, you can't create a Confluence page, right? And so now we're going to, we could give it an outline, but it won't be able to do it. So now with MCP, we're going to be able to essentially go straight into Atlassian itself and put it in there. And so as you can see, it's doing its thing, it's thinking, it's trying to figure it out. Where do we put it? In this particular case, it looks like it's going to stick it in this Atlassian one, but it's still figuring it out, still thinking a little bit. But this is the power of MCP. And this is kind of what I wanted to show you here, right? Is normally you're just having a conversation, or I think a really good use case too is that whole meeting unit, right? We have a meeting with, it's tough to present and prompt at the same time. It is very hard. But yeah, normally we're like in a meeting, you're doing the transcription. And so you have this file with words in it. You feed it to ChatGPT or to Claude, and then magical things will happen, right? And so here we go. We're going to allow this thing to go and do things. So this is one of the things that I noticed when I was doing Claude. In fact, let me give the same thing to Claude as well and see what Claude does. So just to kind of compare and contrast, actually, just for fun, let's pull up Rovo and let's have Rovo do the same thing, right? And let's compare the 3 tools so that we can compare what's the difference between using Rovo, Claude, and ChatGPT. Anthropic's being like the best, ChatGPT being my favorite, and then Rovo being, Rovo. You can ask Rovo to create a Confluence page via Rovo chat. I can. So I'm going to do that. And so again, I just want to see the differences in what it gives me back, right? Because I suspect that the models behind ChatGPT and Claude are better than whatever Rovo comes up with. So it's not a matter of like, okay, can I create the page or not? And we're leveraging the power of the model and then having access to Jira. That's the takeaway here, right? And so now down here, we are still working. Done. I created a Confluence page. What's wrong? It's under the existing Jira page for, yep. So let's open it up and let's see where it actually put it. Open the link. It went to Confluence, and here we go. As you can see, I didn't do anything other than tell it to put it in here. What's wrong in Jira, game ideas, and it documented all of this. And so I have all of this information. It is now inside of my what's in Jira. It picked the page, it picked the structure, it did it all for me. Now let's go look at Claude, right? And so we do have Claude connected, and I'm going to say, hey, well, what was the next prompt? Oops. The next prompt is, let's put all information into Confluence. So let's see how Rovo or Claude does it. And then finally, we're going to go ask the same thing to Rovo. As you can see here, Rovo's giving us some good use cases as well. Gave us 7 use cases versus 10 that I got from Claude versus 7. How many did I get? We got 10 and suggestions from ChatGPT, right? So you can see that Rovo kind of just did the bare minimum. Rovo did the bare minimum. Okay. It did not go above and beyond, and that's kind of what we're trying to highlight here as well, right? So we're gonna always allow. We're gonna get the Confluence. See, you're starting to see the what's going on here with the MCP, right? It's able to go get this information. I do not want to go get this. Let's just put it. It's asking me where I want to put it. Let's put it in my personal space, right? So I like that Rovo or Claude is asking, right? It's coming back and asking for some clarification. It prompts you way more though. I was trying this last night. You saw that ChatGPT was kind of like dang, 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 done. But with Claude, we're having a couple more problems. Create a work breakdown structure made up of epics and tasks for all of this work and put it in Jira. So now I'm going to tell ChatGPT, great, we created a Confluence page. Now go create a bunch of Jira work items, because now that we have all the work kind of architected, we need to track it. So go stick it in Jira and let's see what it does over here while Claude over here is creating Confluence pages. And let's go check in on our Rovo. So Rovo gave us a Confluence page as well here. We got the preview. We got a little, all the 7. So as you can see here, great. So let's add to Confluence. Here we have to be a little bit more proactive. We got to tell it where we're going to put it. So I'm going to put it in my own. We'll stick it there. That's fine. And then let's see what Claude's up to. So Claude is creating it in my personal space as well. Created it. And then I think I can open this up and let's see where it's stuck it in. So here we have the Claude version. Okay, so it's had all the information inside of Confluence. And then here we have the Rovo version, and it stuck it all from Rovo. And then we have under recent, we should have the, here we go. So this is the ChatGPT version. So as you can see, all 3 are going to be able to put things into Confluence very, very easily. But that's not it, right? We can, now that it has Confluence data, we can also have ChatGPT read the data. So we had a documentation or a knowledge base or some article, some other page in Confluence, we can just tell it, hey, go grab this data. All right, folks. And to wrap things up, we're only going to have time here for a couple more things. And so, yes, create. Yes, I approve. So it's going to go into this JCS space, and it's going to go create 40 items. And so let's go see what it does. It's got some epics, and it got a bunch of tasks. And we're going to put it in this Jira class space. I don't know where this Jira class space is at, so let's go look for it. And let's see where it actually sticks these in. So folks, again, if you're enjoying this, got some value out of it, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And we're going to wrap things up. Here's my Jira class space. And we're going to go to the list view so we can just see everything that comes in. And let's see. I might have to prompt this. Yep, allow. And now it's going to get to work. So folks, as we're watching Rovo here, hope you enjoyed it. We are currently sitting at 753 subscribers, folks. So help us get to 760. 7 more of you, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. I want to remind you, connect with me on LinkedIn as we're wrapping this up for y'all today. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I do have that webinar coming up here in a couple of hours. So if you want to attend that, definitely sign up for that. If you want to join us in Dallas, definitely take your skills. In-person training is my favorite kind of training. So if you're in the Dallas area, or if you can get to Dallas fairly quickly, sign up for this completely free in-person event. Don't forget to get to the Big Book of Atlassian. All you got to do is drop your email, and we'll send you the PDF here. So there is no PDF for the Canva, but we will give you the Big Book of Atlassian. So if you want to grab this one, drop that PDF there, and you'll be able to get it. In fact, I might actually start dropping these. That's a good idea. For is the Rovo? Yes. So on your ChatGPT and Cloud side, it is using some. I don't think that it's using tokens per se, because it's not on the. It should just use your monthly subscription part of it. So it shouldn't use up any extra other than whatever you're paying for already. And folks, as you can see here, the epics are starting to be created, and I can expand, and we have the task being created. So all of this being done automatically with MCP, and that's truly the power, right? So we have the ability to work with Jira data or Confluence data all within your AI tool. It's really cool. It's really awesome. So folks, again, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, smash the subscribe button, share this with your colleagues, with your coworkers, and hopefully I'll see you all in person And hopefully you all register for everything else that I got going on. I will see you all. Friday's our last session. It's session number 10. So hopefully you enjoyed this 10-part series. But we're going to wrap this thing up on Friday. So thank you all for being here, and see you all in a couple days. Bye, everybody.